Call the meeting order. Village clerk, please call roll.
Burgess.
Here.
Morton.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Poskett.
Here.
Washington. Here. Williams. Here.
All right, call item number 2, go to Inbridge. And we've got Mike and Mike here tonight. So come on, guys, you guys can get a hot seat. And I guess for the record, if you guys can just give your name and probably spell your last name if you would for the clerk.
No, but ain't gonna work, please.
Just keep it very close.
Mike Wortham, W-O-R-T-H-A-M.
And Mike Price, P-R-I-C.
That's easy. All right, we'll turn it over.
Well, we wanted to come tonight and for two reasons. One, a few months ago, some residents, as well as the mayor, came to the mayor and brought some issues that they were having with an integrity project that we did in the village last year. And we wanted to, with the roads on Jeffrey, it seems that we may have had impact on that road while we were doing some integrity work. And we took a look at it, and the village worked very well with us, and we wanted to believe that we have a partnership here, and we wanted to make sure that whatever issues came up that we were associated with, that we made good on. So tonight we're here, Mike and I, to present the village with what we believe is a fair compensation for whatever impact we had on the road in the amount of $23,000. We also wanted to, if there's any questions about how we came to that figure, or if, well,
So I work with an operations group on a lot of maintenance projects over the years, and typically, when we enter into a project and do the maintenance, we enter into sometimes, most times, agreements for road use. Really, when it comes to the traffic that's used, is used along these roads, if we're hauling heavy equipment or matting, there may be damage done to the roads. So, this is on that type of project. Really, pretty. If there is damage, it could be up to $22,000.
We're starting to finish all of Jeffrey. I mean, the traffic that was brought in, the bulldozers running, whether it's excavators, the back machinery was brought in, Soft Trail to Jeffrey, all of that.
Correct. Down Jeffrey Avenue from Sock Trail, and then a little stretch of Pearson Avenue, and between the baseball diamond.
So what are we talking about? Resurfacing?
No. What they've got is looked at the road, percentages of the road, looked at some of the areas that could be patched, things like that. So with the $23,000, we want to do as much as possible. Our engineers and Kevin will look at the areas that are our worst areas, and those will be the areas that we take care of first. And then what will happen is it'll probably be from Peterson working our way back toward Sock Trail, and we'll start doing the work with these funds right here. And then we're looking at what else we have in NFT funds and CDGB funds also to do much more work on those roads also.
Because I know the permits, the weight of the machinery and stuff like that, the road was never designed to stand that much weight. So, like I said, the only concern that I have is, I appreciate the offer, but making sure it is, substantial. $23,000, seems like a lot of money, but we get it in the infrastructure of the road. What that again, what was actually done. And the reason why I say that is, that's why I prefer it to all machinery. So I know the impact that actually can be done, something like that, especially turning and stuff like that, and returning the track, so next thing, you're tearing the paper and all that stuff. So, nothing concerned about it.
Well, I have to say that the bridges worked well with the village. They came out, they looked at it, they evaluated, and they made a very good contribution to go toward that goal. So, As mayor, I very much appreciate it very much. Any other questions? Trustee Burgess?
I just want to say, I know what you guys did, and I appreciate what you did back here where you worked at by the baseball. And if that's indicative of what's going on and what's going to happen, I appreciate it. I just want to make sure, I just want to find out, kind of get a kind of a date. Mayor, are we looking to do this year?
We will.
Yeah, but when you go to this, I don't want to, you know, I'd like to see if you guys put the money in, I would like to see it done as soon as possible. You know, because, you know, sometimes you have a tendency to put it in there and then you go back and, you know.
Nothing's ever done that comes
Well,
from a certain
it's being
project.
used up.
This is for a certain project. It's not, nothing that the village has ever received for certain projects has ever been used up in general fund.
Well,
And this money is no different. This funds are for Jeffrey Avenue, and that's what they'll be used for.
okay, now I'm just saying, I mean, it's not just our village, we all village, I have a tendency to use other things when they come in and didn't pay back. But I'm just glad that you guys are, cognizant of what I appreciate that, you know, that
Can you use the mic, please?
Okay, I appreciate that you have, came out quickly and that you reacted very quickly towards that because it just happened, was it last year. So I appreciate that from Enbridge and it shows that they are really working in conjunction with the village like you said before, and I appreciate that. I'm glad that we able to get something to compensate for it, especially right there between Salt Trail and going past the library. That's really, really bad right there. That right there would really help out. So I appreciate that. But I was just, Mayor, I wasn't trying to say that we were going to use the money. I'm just saying sometimes, you know, if it sits there, we have, you know, we have other ways we have a tendency to take care of. But I'm just hoping that it'll be done this year, and as you stated that it would be, so that's good. And again, thank you very much, Enbridge.
Thank you. And I should say that, you know, we worked very closely with the mayor, and when he brought these concerns to our attention, we met and we did a tour of the area, and Mike and I worked with our project team, and that's how we came to be here today. So before we forget and walk out with the check, we should. Next, we'd like to just offer the village an update on our Line 70 project. And that we've been here before several times talking about the project. We had an open house last year. We're nearing finalization of our planning stage. And we've also moved very positively forward in our permitting stage. And we're planning on having a series of pre-construction open houses as things are looking pretty good. We had planned to move into construction possibly this year, as we said, if, you know, possible when we were here before, but it's looking like we may be out in the field probably in the spring of 2015 with an in-service date of 2015. So we'll be coming back before the board. We will have a pre-construction open house here, where we'll invite the community to come out and ask any questions of our project team and our subject matter experts, and talk to you a little bit more and present the final plans. Well, we are seeing the final plans for the project, but present the project once again and allow the community to ask us questions about it, whatever they may have.
I would like to say that Enbridge has worked very well with the village, coming to us early in the process, making sure that they don't affect any property that can be developed, and working very hard to make sure that that they're not an impact on future developments of the city city. So I do appreciate it, and in our early talks, I think we've met probably 4 or 5 times maybe.
If not more.
Quite a few times going over, and every time you came back with a map, we looked at it, and I felt bad. I asked them, you know, that could affect us here, can we move it here? So they've worked very well with the village on this one. So, and then we do have some things where there's some village property we'll be going through. They'll be coming back and talking to us about what they need when it comes to easements coming through the village. And, but that's not before it's tonight, it'll probably be later as they continue to work in this phase. Like they said, at the end of 2014, you might be doing some land studies out in that area. There were some other questions that you guys had to make sure that you answered. So if you see some Enbridge trucks out there, we've already talked to Brian Quigley from DB Partners. We've already talked to National Loans, National Loan Title or something that has the other properties out there. And they've given me approval for them to be out there doing their testing and stuff like that. So you may see them out there working this fall or winter.
Yeah, you may be out there doing some surveys. You have a couple of groups out there already. Now that we've received approval to do additional surveys, we will have a team out there in the near future. And then finally,
Can't hear you again.
we will schedule the pre-construction open houses with the village and several other municipalities along the route.
Any other questions? Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you coming out tonight, and thank you again for the funds for Jeffrey Avenue. We'll make sure that that money, all of it, goes on that street. And we'll definitely have our engineers, I'll make sure I call them tomorrow, make sure water department, public works director knows, so they can start going out there and putting the paint on the streets, on the areas that we're gonna start working on. So, thank you very much. All right, item number 3, resolution authorizing 215th and Jeffrey Park.
I don't see anybody here from Robinson.
All right, I can discuss on this a little bit. I was hoping they didn't, we know that Jim's on vacation, and he was hoping to have someone here from Robinson Engineering. But we have the opportunity to apply for a $200,000 grant, which is a 90/10 matching grant, which means the village has to pay $20,000 toward the $200,000. So we get $180,000, we put $20,000 toward. That would go toward our parks and playground. And a lot of this area here around 215 Jeffrey Park, we know that we've already been given the reauthorization for another $135,000 to be used on playgrounds and things like that through Springfield. So we've been talking for a while about the way our parks look, about what needs to be done. This will, if we get approved for this grant, this will give us money to be able to go in and fix up a lot of our parks, getting some new equipment. Again, the ball fields are involved in that, and the trustees are going to talk about some of the things that, when it comes to the ball fields, about some of what's coming up. So during his report, we've got some good news about these ball fields being used again. So I'm not going to take all his part. So this is something we want to go ahead and move forward on. And I'm asking that the board go ahead and approve the resolution so we can apply for the grant. We don't have the money, but it gives us the opportunity to apply for it.
Is there a reason why you said it should come to 15?
Was there a reason why we titled it 215th and Jeffrey? I mean, or is it, you said it's for all the parks?
No, well, what happens is this is part of the area that they're applying for the majority of the grant for. When it comes to, especially the ball fields back there, when it comes to brand new playground equipment, they're going to put together a whole entire plan for us on what we can do with that $200,000 in that area. So, again, that area is what's being used for probably the majority of the funds applying for that grant.
Okay, and also my next question, have you administrative costs, which would be the engineer's costs and things like that, is that separate, or do we have to pay for that as they come out of this grant?
That can come out of this grant. You're talking about for like the drawings and
The engineering costs, right? Engineering,
I think
things,
that's what you're saying.
right, that'll come out of the grant?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, Robinson Engineering. Great. All the administration fees, there has to be drawings on what the fields are going to look like. They're going to have to look at it, are we going to put, is there enough money to walk past around there? I mean, they'll do a whole entire, pretty much a drawing of what it will look like when it's done. Right, okay. Robinson Engineering's been very good about letting us know what kind of grants are out there, if there's anything we're possibility that we're eligible for. So this is one that looks very positive when it comes to parks.
And this one this came from Robinson Engineering, right?
Correct.
Okay. They've already put time into it, so I'm sure.
Well, what they do first is it comes across, they have a regular grant writer that works for them. As something comes across, they send stuff to least to me at least, letting you know, here's some grants that are available out there, is there something that we should pursue? Some of the grants, like this one's a 90-10, we know that $20,000 would be easier to pay for this. There's other grants out there that can be everything from a matching grant to a 80-20. Again, depending on where the funding are going to come from, how we're going to pay for it, a lot of times depends if we can go for those grants or not. Any other questions? Yes.
The top, where's the 20 grand?
20 grand, we'll have the 20 grand. There's funds available for, like the CN, that's still left over, that was money left for the parks. So we have the money that's available to make our match. No. CN gave us some money also for parks, and parks that fall within the railroad track area, or that fall within the tracks, so there's money available. Remember I thought you were, remember we used part of it with the basketball
Right.
pad in there.
Right, we use part of that for that, but I didn't know that was okay, I thought that was okay.
No, we still have. In fact, we were just about ready to use that money to go in there and start fixing the ball fields up with the money we had, and then when this came across, we thought, you know what, maybe we should wait on spending that money, at least we'll hold that, so we have our 10%.
Also, also have some cars. That's what
No, see, no,
international baseball.
No, he-
International.
No, CN gave us additional 12,000, which Mohan was, I think it was 12,000 last year for the ball fields also. So we do have that money also. Again, the money has not been spent, it's sitting there for the ball fields. Yeah, definitely. So one thing I've been very careful on, and I ask Mohan about all the time, when we've gotten money for certain projects, make sure we don't spend it. So he's been very good at making sure it's still there, we have it right here, so we don't spend that money. All right, let's be on the agenda for next week. Does anyone have a problem with this being on consent agenda? First apply for this? All right. Item number 4, ordinance adopting a prevailing wage standard. Y'all should have that in your boxes.
I just passed.
Oh, did you? Okay. This is something we have to pass every year. We discussed it.
You have to do it
Annually.
Yeah, but if it says prevailing wage, and yes, it goes up, it's prevailing. It's prevailing, whatever prevailing is, at that time, that's all we passed it.
Last year.
Years ago, I mean.
No, every year.
I'm sure you didn't do that. I just want to write it every year. I
Ms.
mean,
Cook County changes the prevailing wage every year, actually.
yeah, but the word prevailing, it moves with it, that's all I got. Right, whatever it is.
I'm not the county.
You guys don't say, as I say, if you guys don't go already, go to the county board and go
No,
down
I just
Springfield.
wondered why.
That's all I can say. Yes. Every year we get to pass it.
You guys have done it every year since I've been.
Right. Again, which one do you look at?
Are you looking at something that he put in front of you? No, the one that you have in front of you for me is 25 pages long, 24 pages long. It says ordinance adopting prevailing wage standards.
Right.
Trustee Myers passed out some old ordinances. This is a new ordinance. I just asked them to pass it around. Oh, I'm sorry, you got stopped.
I'm sorry, it's my fault.
This is the one, it's 24 pages long, it's their current prevailing wage ordinance. I can see why you were confused.
Okay, this is really good now.
Yes, Will and Cook County.
Okay.
So if you have a hard time sleeping at night, I encourage you to go through and read it. Okay.
Okay, I know what this is. This is not the village, this is Willow Cook County. The village has a prevailing wage that we passed years ago that we, you know, someone couldn't come in here, because we had instances where someone wanted to come in and do something for the village for less money. And they had,
Would undercut, like, the
well, no, they never say, they wanted to save the village money. And they wanted to do some work in the village, and it was brought up at that time that we would have to pay prevailing wage, whatever it is at that time. But this is
somebody
something
else came into the village, they'd have to pay prevailing wage, what?
No, we would have to pay them prevailing wage, they're working for the village.
And if I remember right, yeah, if I remember right, our ordinance says that we follow the state and county, or the county's prevailing wage, both Will and Cook. So our ordinance, it constantly doesn't need to be updated. However, we have to update Will and Cook County.
Okay, that's what I was talking about, this is just Willow Cook County.
All right? If you got any questions, if you got any questions, come back. Item number 5,
Is that
again,
consent agenda?
consent agenda, is that okay? Okay. If here, no no's. Next one is amendments. We're looking at next week's motion, not tonight, but next week, to approve the principal renewal of life insurance. As you all remember, we passed to approve our life insurance, our dental, and our health. At the time, we were looking at what we currently had, and we went back to Mohan, went back to the people who were before us and said, if we can get something cheaper, we want to know. And was it something that we could do according to our current contracts? Well, they have found out that we can do this according to our current contracts, and it is less, and you should have everything from your package. So if you still have your package, and you'll see how the next two, 5 and 6, the life insurance and the vision. Yeah, the life insurance and the vision insurance, if you remember, we had Blue Cross and Blue Shield. We dropped down to MetLife, it has cheaper premiums for us. So this has to be passed by the end of June, so we'd like to make sure that we pick up on some of that benefit. And again, it's something we remember, if you remember right, if you remember during the meeting, we said, number one, can we do it according to our contracts, which we verified, you said yes. And there was questions on if it really was cheaper, and the answer is yes. The only thing that they could not quote on, if you remember right, MetLife was the health insurance until they had everyone fill an application out. This one they didn't have to, on the next two, 5 and 6, on the life insurance division.
Life division.
Correct. Does anyone have any questions about that? We might as well just do 5 and 6 at the same time.
Consent agenda as well.
Consent agenda, if it's okay, and if you cannot find your paperwork,
I have it right here, if you guys take it out.
we'll have the village clerk make you copies of it, so you should be reviewing it. All right? Again, another cost savings to the village, when it comes to insurance. Item number 7, ordinance review. Turn over to trustee Myers.
All right. We had several questions over the last few weeks about the ordinances and stuff. Some people said that they were not in the book, they could not find it in the book. When we recodified the book, they reorganized the book and they moved some stuff around. The book is totally different. You have to look in the very back of the book and they will tell you what section, what chapter, what verse that was changed. Until you get used to it, yes, it's pretty rough to try and understand it. Until you get used to it, move things around. Some of the two major ones that I got a question on was that walking the street. All right, walking the street is different in the book. It's walking on the roadway, not exactly like I said in the old code book. The old code section is in 7408, is that you're walking on highways. This one, the new one is in 10, section 10. They don't read exactly the same, but the definition, you can't walk on a highway, or you can't walk on a public street, you know, it's forbidden. that is there. However, I just want to bring up a point. I talked to both I talked to Matt, I talked to Mike, and the question that was posed to me was that, all right, now, if it's, for instance, if it was not worded exactly in the new code book, and exactly the way it was worded in the old code book, this one here, it's still good. The answer I received was that if the village trustees has not amended, deleted, did anything with that ordinance stands as is. It takes the action of the board of trustees to remove the ordinance. The police department and code can write on the ordinance. And each one of those, what I would like to do is the mayor and board has no objections. There is they call it a cheat sheet. What you do a computer search, and most of the citations that the police department write, mostly of, you compile them together, and you list it in the code in section 104. I'm going to give you a couple, for instance. Animal license, section 10-1A. A couple of different ones. Failure to maintain pool, section 14-24. And also you find it again in section 303-1, failure to maintain pool. You have the code, the section, and you have the reference of what it's for. Now, I have also asked the code to do the same thing, put together a list of everything that they write with. Most of theirs are housing and high grass and stuff, and garbage, stuff like that. All right, speaking of garbage, it's been changed somewhat, not worded the same on your garbage. I probably will be coming back to the board to have the wording changed around where that you had to remove your garbage can the following day at a certain time. In the old code, it says that. The new one, it does not specifically give. But it still says you have to remove it, but not a specific time.
And the old code used to be like before 5 o'clock at night.
Yes.
Before 8, 9 o'clock, I can't remember what it was.
So that one, I will ask the consensus of the board on which time we want to go with that, or we stay with what was in the code book before. But that one probably will, I will be asking for an amendment to that, just to get the wording correct. The other one I was questioning on is the ordinance that the police department is the saggy pants ordinance. We did that one way back, what year now? But it's still on the book, it's never been amended. It's been in 2 or 3 towns now. Chicago Heights use it, and I know Linwood use it, and we based ours off of Linwood's and Chicago Heights. It's still on the book. However, our police department at the present time, they don't want to write it until they see if it's going to get challenged. Right? Well, it's been 2-3 years now. Let's see, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, okay, it's the 11th, and it has not been challenged yet in any court. So that is one that numerous citizens have asked me. Yes, we have the ordinance in the book. Each one of the trustees has a copy of that ordinance. So again, we have a section in it that's the discrepancy of the officer. So the trustees, the mayor should get together and decide if we're going to allow our officers to write this. But again, at the present time, it's at the discretion of the officer. 90% of them didn't know we had one. They know it now. I will have a copy for each and every one of them. The other thing I'm asking the police chief is, if all possible, give me 30 minutes before shift, after shift, during a shift, and I will be glad to come in and run through the new code book with them, show them how to look them up. It's a little different than the old book. And again, I'm making a book for each officer that had a cheat sheet, plus it will have the ordinance on every one of those sections that it wrote. That recommendation came from a sergeant who said, well, it really would help us if we actually had the ordinance. Okay, fine, no problem. I can do that. So they have the ordinance in front of them, and they also have a section that they get right under the new code book. Let's see, there's one of them. The one that I'm going to have to come to back to you is totally different on the animal control. First of all, we had some we had some horses, cows, and stuff coming through the town, and some of the flowers beds and yards that got messed up with some of the livestock, so they couldn't find it, but it is in Chapter 10, Animal Control, and it says you cannot herd any type of animal through the village of Sauk Village, except for, you have them for free and so forth like that. The only section I found here that does not mention the rooster and chickens. We have several complaints over on the east side of the rooster, but I think they're coming from the unincorporated area at that farm that's over there over 223rd, and he has a chicken coop over there full of chickens and roosters and stuff. If it's in an unincorporated area, we're going to ask county to check it out for us, but if I remember correctly, Cook County doesn't have anything on there to raise chickens and horses and cows and sheep and everything else. But that's the only one that I've found so far. Now, what I'm asked is that if you have somebody that really call you and you don't, because one of the things I'm going to do is this package here is a copy of every ordinance wrote in this town from 1958 to 2013. I will give a copy to each trustee and the mayor where somebody does call you and ask you for the copy. Because I went on our website today. If you don't know how to use a website, yeah, it's pretty hard to track the ordinances through it. But if you're familiar with our website, if you get the ordinance number, put it in under the section of search, and it will bring up that ordinance pretty easy. I was going to bring my laptop down tonight, but I felt I've got enough here. So with this here, it should answer most of your questions. If you get called by a resident, and you can tell them we got an ordinance and so forth. And then if you need a copy of it, just come during the daylight hours, and the girl will pull you a copy out of the file. We have every one of these ordinances on file, and you can get copies of each and every one of them. If a resident would like to have a copy of a certain ordinance, please feel free to contact many trustees, but basically contact myself, and I'll be glad to go through it and find the ordinance for you. If need be, hand deliver it to you, whatever. It's all here. There's a few of them over the last few years that we have deleted. There's a couple of them that just doesn't fall on our time. We don't require you to hitch up your horses to a hitching post anymore. So that one went on the wayside. So the backfiring your car through the outside the village hall on Sunday morning, that went on the wayside. And some of the other ones that's ridiculous we removed. But some of the other good ones, that if you see a section in this, it will tell you if it's been amended, deleted, whatever. It has a whole history of that ordinance on it. It's a pretty nice thing to have. But I'll make sure that each and every one of you have one there. So, okay. Other than that, the cheat sheet and the copy of the ordinance, I think that would go with police department. There's only one I can't find, and of according to mini code, they said it's in the book, so I have the desk, I'm searching the desk, so that before I came down here, and it's not, it's improper storage of wood, so, they said it's in the book, so I'll search for that, find it there. And the code has asked me to do that before, see if I can find it. But other than that, that's it. I think these two ordinances was the one you requested, and so we do have them, they're good, they have never been amended. Trustee Burgess, I know I received 2 calls from your meeting, a couple of residents called me. You said that get old trustee Myers and he can help with it, and I did get those calls, and I was able to help the trustee on, the resident on it. But, other than that, please feel free to call me. Sometimes a little hard to get hold of me, but I'll get back to you. Well, the other ones I will try to. We reviewed those other ordinances that you asked us to do. The sign ordinance, the committee is, they like for be able to open that up to maybe 4 or 5 signs on a parkway, but that then immediately thereafter that it should be removed and so forth. That is something that the board's going to have to decide that if they want to amend it or not, and I will ask that next week. I will ask if you want me to go ahead and write that up for amendment or not. But the consensus of the ordinance committee is they'd like to open that up for a couple of signs put on a parkway. One sign, total of 5 signs. So they felt that if the residents felt that if they were able to get their information out, they can get a lot more people to look at their products and stuff. There are pros and cons on it. Kevin definitely opposed it because the possible damage it does to the motors and the time it takes for the guys to get off the machines and pick up everything and remove them and so forth. So it's a time factor in there. But there again, it's only a recommendation from the committee. And I will have a one other one. What was that one? The other one is
Fleet ordinance. Fleet.
I don't know if we really want to bring that one
You just look at it. Don't bring it back into your.
Jeff has been in contact with the one that for the sign breaking thing. We're having a little difficult. One time the IDOC told us that fine, we get you the sign and you can put it up. Now they tell us that no, you have to buy the sign and put them up. But there again, IDOC says come back. Another representative come and said you can't put anything on the expressway. They have to decide where to put it. So it's, I'm going to pretty much will turn it over to our engineering, let them talk to IDOC, see where we exactly put it. The signs are expensive. So, did you get a price on them? The signs are pretty expensive. That's all I have, sir.
You're saying engine braking?
Yeah.
Engine brake, okay. Because you already passed engine braking.
We have an ordinance, we passed the ordinance, then we contacted a representative from IDOC. He said had no problem with it, and then just recently we went to find out where we can put these things and where we can get the sign, and everything has been turned around to a different way. So yes, we still have the ordinance in place, so.
Right. Trustee Rivers?
Yes, I do have a couple of questions. First one, as you stated, we passed an ordinance for saggy pants. If we passed that ordinance and you said the police department didn't want to write the tickets or whatever, I mean, that's not their call. I don't know why they're not. We need to find out why they're not doing that. And because that's what the ordinance was written for. That's why we wrote that ordinance. And the other one is for walking in the streets. I mean, those are one of the two main concerns that we hear people that are talking about. I mean, if we, I understand that, I don't know why the police doesn't want to write or whatever. Let the courts decide. But right now, if we have to show that, you know, we wrote the ordinance for a reason, we put this into the books for a reason for both of them. And if the courts decide something different, let them decide. But right now, we should still, and the police department should still honor those ordinances because that's what they're written for.
Yeah, I did talk to the police chief on this one, and it's one reason I asked Trustee Myers to get involved to find out what the ordinance is, because according to the police chief, they were only able to find the code to issue the tickets for. That's why Trustee Myers got involved to make sure, number one, that the ordinances were still in the books, which they are. Number two, he contacted the village attorneys to make sure that as long as we have an ordinance, can the police department still issue a ticket based off of that ordinance, even if they can't find a code number, which we were sure they can. They just have to make sure they put down on the ticket what ordinance they're in violation of. So that's one reason I asked the trustee to get involved and provide the information. And then the next steps, I wanted to present before the board, make sure everyone knew what we were doing, especially the trustee. And the next step is for him to get to the police department, make sure they know exactly what they have to write, make sure they have the ordinances in hand. And again, if we have to go back on our new code book and make sure that there's a code, actual code there, then we'll make sure that those codes are put in there. We'll have to make some
That's
amendments.
what we're looking at now, where we have to actually put a section in there for them. However, though, there is a state law on two statutes, and it refers to several times in our paperwork you have that there is a statute out there for people walking in the street. Our police department can't write a state citation down. It's the mayor and the board of trustees decision how we're going to get them to write it. If they're not writing it, there must be a reason why they're not writing it.
Then they need to talk to the mayor and find out why they're not writing it, because you know, if you got people out there complaining about that and there's a law on the books for it, it shouldn't be a question. I just want to figure out when are we going to start doing this. This is June now. Do we have to go to our lawyers or whatever to get a code number? We should get that done, and these tickets they should start immediately.
They'll have the ordinances in their hands so they can issue the tickets according to the ordinances.
Mr. Mayor, and I'm really very just because we had a child that last night in our car, and we're going to
like,
talk more if we don't start.
The reason why I'm asking that is I was apprehensive at the time when we did this because I didn't want any profiling, I didn't want people to be picked on because of whatever. But I'm sure that our police department, and if we find that out, then we can act accordingly as far as, you know, the board. But it's still an ordinance.
Yeah.
It's still out there.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, but it needs to be, you know, at least enacted. If it is found that it is profiling or they're doing it on certain people or whatever, then I'm sure we'll find that out too. But in the meantime, it needs to be a message needs to be sent that we need to do this.
I agree with you 100%.
All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, any other questions for the trustee? All right, seeing none, we'll move to item number 8, Soft Talk and website update and policy. Trustee Williams.
Thank you. I just want to remind everybody that we did kind of go over some of the new portions of the website, so I wanted to draw everyone's attention to that. Some of the things that we will be doing in the future to make the website a little bit more user-friendly and have a little bit more access and user access with the board. Some more accountability where we have had problems in the past where people's websites were not getting updated. People don't feel like there's enough information on the website. So this way, some of the changes that we're making, we're hoping that it'll be more time realistic. Where if you have an event coming on, you can go on and you can put it on the website. And we're hoping that that will make the website more informational to the residents. I know that also we talked about the Sock Talk. And I know that I've asked before if anybody needs a copy of these policies. The Sock Talk, there is just to show, on the Sock Talk policy, there is a schedule on here of when the Sock Talk the articles will be due versus when it's going to be printed. It also describes in here that, you know, when we get, everything has to be submitted electronically. When we get it, we don't proofread, we don't alter. It's going to be upon whatever you send in, that's what's gonna be on there. If for some reason it has to be reformatted or something like that to fit, then we will let you know. But typically, that's not something that we do. Whatever you send us, we try to use that in its entirety. The Talk is distributed every other month. So the articles will be due the last Friday of the month prior. As an example, the next Talk that's out is due in July. So the last Friday of the month will be the 27th. So anything that's coming up that for your committee, for your commissions, anything like that, if there's something coming up that you would like, I would need that submitted electronically by midnight, the Friday before. We'd like to keep on that schedule. That has kind of been an issue. We have been accommodating to kind of let some things come in, just so we can make sure that we get as much information as possible. So if anybody needs a copy of this, I can submit it electronically. Okay. Then I will do that.
What I would do is let the village clerk send it electronically.
Okay.
And if you can make a hard copy and stick it in everyone's box.
Would you guys look at this, or maybe I didn't guess that?
Whose fault is it this
Got
time?
stuck on me.
Whose fault is it this time? I didn't hear that.
There's a hard copy.
So
but I
there's
will
everybody's
send
hard copy.
There's a couple of things here. On the website, one thing we need to make sure we talk about is, we were trying to get Gerald's costs down. And the current website, all the information has to be provided to Gerald. Gerald will do it, he's getting paid for it. By opening this up to the committees, commissions, trustees, putting your own information in there, this is a cost savings, another cost savings to the village. And it allows you to put it out. The other thing too is, I've been thinking about it, especially people talking about there's misspellings and things like that in the people's reports. I think maybe one thing you should think about adding, talk to your committee, is that under it says prepared by. So they're not coming back after the Public Relations Committee. If someone's report has a misspelling, we're all human. And so you're probably going to find, if you look hard enough, you're going to find punctuation's not where it's supposed to be. You're going to find misspelling words because we're human. But at least it puts on there who prepared their own report. So you have to really consider adding that to each report.
We'll bring that up to the committee, because we do that in the soft talk. It does have the commission or committee's chairperson, just so we say. And we do ask that anything that's submitted for the soft talk and for the website, we always get it from the chair of that committee or their designee. And the designee has to be submitted to the committee in writing. That way we don't have, person X from your committee just submitting stuff without it going through the chair and through the committees to make sure that that's exactly what you guys want to have your committee be presented as.
Joe, I have a question. You said that we can update?
That's part of the new changes.
Okay, so we can actually.
Not yet.
No.
They're still making the changes to
Yeah.
that.
So I'm talking about you're gonna have the capability that we can actually put something on and update. Okay.
Update your page.
Oh, well, we can always update our page. I'm talking about.
No, because you have a separate web page
Right.
for your committee.
Right.
But your committee has a page on there. It's part of the committee.
Right.
So what now, where you can update your entire webpage.
Correct.
My committees do not have a separate website. So I have information on the Soft Village website that represents my two committees.
Correct.
If I were to need any changes or anything like that, I would have to submit it to Gerald. Gerald would have to do it.
Okay.
Now, I would have access to update public relations and community outreach partnerships. I would be able to do that as
Okay.
administrator of those pages.
If I want to update mine, it would just be the same like I'm doing now.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's
But
fine.
it would just be on the Soft Village website.
Right, well, it's on
Or
there
they
anyway.
could watch, or, anybody, Trustee Washington would have the ability to update her information instead of submitting it to me electronically or to the village clerk, and then we would have to submit it to Gerald, and then Gerald would have to put it out.
Okay, so then
And
I
also, it's a cost-saving initiative, there's also a time-saving initiative too, because, it comes through us, we have to submit it to him, when he gets, around to or whatever, it could take up more time, and some things are time-sensitive, I have noticed that you guys are being more forthcoming with information, but often it's in a time-sensitive manner, so by the time it's up, doesn't give much time for residents to schedule for things.
And it resolves the issue of something getting missed, something forgotten. If Gerald's out on vacation and he's not coming back for a couple of days, you might want something out on a Friday, he may not be back in town until Monday. So it doesn't get out there in time, so. You'll have access to your page, when I'm calling it your page, for your committees. And the only ones that you'll be able to blame going forward, once this new website's up, is yourself.
And it's not just one page, it's your site.
Right.
And you could have 5, 6, 7 pages, it's your site.
And one of the things, maybe you guys can kind of spread throughout your committees and just in the public, you know, as we're all out. One of the good things that's being proposed, and I know that I talked about last week, is that with the calendar changes, people are going to be able to, kind of like the P.L.A.N, people are going to be able to sign up for the calendar changes and they can get alerts. If, you know, when the corn and dog roast is coming back, or any other, the parade, things like that, what time the fireworks will be, whatever, they can get those text message or email alerts that says, hey, this is going to be happening, so they can put it on their personal calendars, which I think is a really good feature, because a lot of times people say, I don't know what's happening in Sauk Village, this way they'll get it with that reminder.
I'm excited. Go ahead.
You go through with the trustees, how to go about it.
Nope.
Once all the changes are actually made, Gerald will come here and he will go through, and I don't know if it'll be at a board meeting or if it'll be individually, but Gerald will come and kind of say, these are the changes that were made. This is how it's going to go through the process. So that we're all kind of aware.
I can see it on probably a committee meeting night, we can put it up there, residents can see the new, what it's gonna look like, you know.
Because he wants the residents to know what's going to be available to them as well, so he's willing to come to a committee meeting. We're not talking anytime soon, next month or two.
All right. Any other questions for the trustee? All righty, move down to number 9, budget hearing meeting schedule. We've got the budget just about complete. I'm ready to schedule some time with the trustees. I said to sit down with the department heads to go over it, but since we're in a committee meeting tonight, if everyone has their calendars, if you want to start looking at what dates you have available. But the thing is, I know I've asked that we don't put it on a weekend, if we can start doing some, maybe, if we have a couple nights during the week, we do maybe like a Wednesday and a Thursday night, or if we do if we take a committee meeting night on a Tuesday, and only do the budget hearing, we could do that too.
I mean, you got a release date for committee?
Or we have to, postpone everything else, or, you know, maybe just the stuff that needed to be talked about, we talk about that, and then we go into budget hearing, we could do it even earlier. We could start a budget hearing earlier in the evening, like at 5 o'clock, and we go into it. We go into our 7 o'clock meeting, talk about what we have to, and go back into the budget hearing afterwards.
But then does the budget hearing have to be a separate meeting? No, you're saying you could incorporate it as a committee meeting?
You would.
Well, you open it up, you
Yeah,
open it up as a budget, it's a separate
It's
meeting.
separate, yeah.
but it would be, you would open it like we've done
Recess.
before, and recess, and then
Yeah.
pick back up.
Well, I mean, the budget is usually, you know, you got your department head,
Correct.
you got a comment, and they have to be.
I just got confused when you mentioned this, we're going to that would mean we're going to schedule a budget hearing, and then if we have additional work that needs to be taken care of,
I know
we have to
that.
have a separate agenda.
Then you just get, I think you can do
I just know there's just some issues with getting people here on Saturdays.
No, I'm talking about as far as the department heads on Saturday?
Yeah, and there's issues
Elected officials.
with elected officials, department heads.
What week are we supposed to be looking at? Because you're almost done, so.
Most,
So we're looking at July.
probably, well, we could probably do the end of June, the beginning of July. I figure I'll be meeting with the department heads here shortly. I wanted to meet with them already, but I made some changes and Mohan looked at, and there were some addition issues and subtraction issues that didn't come out with it, so we can go back and look at it.
I know June is next week.
end of this month, will you be ready? You will be?
Okay, so we want to look at like the 25th.
Only thing I have left to do is sit down with the department. I
Okay.
finished making all the final changes last night. I'm just have to add them in there and run off the report, and I sit down with the department.
Can we do 27th? That's a Friday. No, we don't start that until August.
Friday, that 27th isn't going to work for me. Can we
Okay,
do like that Wednesday or Thursday?
okay, then the 26th? The 26th, okay?
I'll take it.
That's a Thursday, the last Thursday of the month.
And I recommend that we do it Wednesday and Thursday. If we don't meet Thursday, we can always cancel it, because I've seen it where it's.
Okay, so you're looking at
Today's
the 25th then?
25th and 26th. If we don't meet the 26th, we can cancel. That's just my recommendation.
Yes,
Yeah.
each one.
Well, they have a portion. We usually try to get them out, but then there's a lot of other
We have to
different
cancel that month.
budgets that we have to talk about without them.
You know what? May I push it further than that?
That's what I was asking. If that's the case, then,
Can we do the 30th and the 1st? Monday and Tuesday, Tuesday, can't do it. If we do the 30th and the 2nd, and if we need Wednesday, we do it. If we don't, we won't have to.
But it's a
No,
Wednesday,
yeah.
I mean,
the second.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
the
the
30th, the
Wednesday.
30th, and the second. Yep.
What day
are you gonna be here in a second?
But will you
Will you be
here
in the
second?
Wednesday, I'm Wednesday.
Monday
First
and Thursday.
Wednesday. Okay,
Can we
we'll do
do that?
the 30th, and the second.
What time do you want to get started on Monday?
6.
Can people be here by 5 o'clock? Correct. And July the 2nd will only be if we need it, if needed.
5?
Can people make it here by 5 o'clock?
No, June 30th. June 30th, 5 o'clock.
If needed.
If we can discuss that.
Yeah, if needed, 5 o'clock. Yes, you have to.
Yeah, I can just do 5. Wednesday, okay for 5?
So 5 o'clock on both.
Yeah. Does that work?
You want to pay that?
We can do like 6, 5:36?
Jeff, you're the only one.
Yeah.
But the other thing too is after I meet with the department heads this next week, you'll be getting copies in your box before the 30th, so you start reviewing them. I will try my best to have it in your boxes by the 27th. That way you'll have all weekend to review it. All right. Any other questions? All right, line number 10, cost saving initiatives. Do you have anything? Any updates? All right.
I think you did talk to us about what you planned about an ongoing project.
I did.
Okay. And then, just if you could give me your days of availability, I have like 3 more developers that want to get in and talk to you. Maybe, I know it's really busy, so you can just let me know what days are good for you. Try to do them all on the same day, if that's good for you. So we could talk about it, but I do have 3 other developers that want to talk to you, so we can give you a date and time later.
And tell you we're probably looking into July. And that's just another night back. Yep. All right. Any other cost saving initiatives, anyone else? All right, we're going to continue keeping this on here. That way you have an opportunity to continue to bring something up if you think of anything. If you want to give updates on any cost savings that you're currently working on, this will be the time that you can discuss it. Item number 11, public comment. All questions or comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to comment on the topics of their choice. Each speaker will be allowed 1 opportunity to speak. If you have anything to it, please come forward to the mics. To the mic. And if you would, please state your name and address for the village clerk.
Hi, Rose Langston. I just want to announce that there's not going to be a fun club meeting nor South Village Bluegrass this coming Sunday, the 22nd. And I also want to mention that there are farmers market coupons for those, the application for the nutrition program. I know that Calumet City, the Argento Senior Center is giving it out. They handle all the suburban area. Anyone who lives in Chicago has to go through Chicago. And in Calumet City, they're doing it on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 to 11. And they're doing it, giving out 100 coupons per day. They're going to continue until they run out. There are guidelines to it, and I do have a copy of the application if somebody's interested. I was wondering, since you're talking about ordinance, we have something on littering, don't we? Because there's a lot of littering going around. I don't, I know people have been complaining about all the debris being thrown out the window and on the street corners. I know this evening my daughter picked up a whole bunch just in our court. She's been doing it just about every night. And I know that my neighbor on the corner has been complaining. That's the lady with the Mary on the garbage can on 225th, Ross Crescent in Jeffrey. That's it. Thank you.
All right. We do have an ordinance on litter. We have the trustee, you can, maybe afterwards, you can give you information on that. All right.
Hello, my name is Charlene Colbreth, and I'm a resident of South Village. I wanted to speak on one of your ordinance. It's Code 14, Section 135. And that one is for parking across the sidewalk. The other day, my son parked his car on the sidewalk to pull up there to pick me up. One of the officers gave him a ticket while we were in the house. I came out to try to talk to him. He sped off. He must have got another call. Okay, in the midst of him doing that, I came down to the police department and I asked to speak to the watch commander. I spoke to the watch commander. He said there is where they can write a ticket for it. But at the same token, I understand that. But why did he just give my son a ticket? It's about 9 or 10 cars on that particular block that's blocking the sidewalk. I feel that that was unfair and injustice. My other ordinance is for my job. I work at Legends, and we wanted to speak on opening, keeping it open for, come on.
How you doing, Mr. Mayor, and Board of Trustees? My name is Sam Wilson, owner of Level Sports.
Okay, hang on real quick. We can put you on after her, but we need to finish
Okay.
her 3 minutes.
All right, no
And then just stay right there. You can be right next. Stay right there.
But I know it's an ordinance on that, but I'm just speaking on fairness. I've got 2 granddaughters that's on the Diva dance team, and we try to keep the neighborhood over there in order as much as we can. I run the kids, I don't know if they're bad kids or what, but they seem to start trouble. I run them from in front of my house. I try to keep that street over there in that area clean. But Carroll and Peterson are the worst 2 streets in South Village. I'm right in the middle. They got shooting going on this side of my house, shooting going on this side of my house. Like I asked them, y'all got time to write tickets for a car parked on the sidewalk for people who trying to watch out for the neighborhood, but y'all can't stop all these shootings. Then they come and park in the middle of the street on Carroll, compensating, which I can understand, but it's like 3 cars. They wrote my son a ticket, and I feel that that's unfair, and that's all I gotta say.
parking on the sidewalk, I know that we do have a ordinance, that's why they write it. I can't say why the police officer wrote their son, you have to take that with the police department. And when it comes to Carroll and Peterson Avenue, we're very much aware of Peterson and Carroll Avenue. We've given you, it's the mayor's office, I've given you okay to do special details in that area. So we put additional police. As the mayor, if you look, I'm over in that area, I try at least to drive through there at least once a day, if not multiple times a day if I'm in town, so that we want to make sure that there's constantly someone going through that area. So our police department is aware of it, and our police department will continue to focus on that area, so, all right?
All right, hello. I pretty much want to come and speak to, my name is Sam Wilson, owner of 11 Sports Bar, 2408 East South Trail. I pretty much came today, I wanted to speak to a concern with the recent ordinance change that we passed, I guess, a couple months ago. When I bought into South Village back in February, I bought in because, you know, the potential with the 4AM license. And, you know, with this rapid change in the ordinance time, it's going to drastically affect business, and my business partially catch traffic losses. If you get to come around my bar and check it out, you'll see that it is a nice environment. We got a lot of things going on for South Village, such as fundraisers going on August 9th for the police department, and more fundraisers in the making. So just wanted to bring my concerns up and first of all meet the whole board, also in the mayor. So.
We're not talking after the meeting, Tim.
Right. Right.
Sure.
Excuse me, I want to ask a question to the owner of Love Sam.
You can ask the question. Just ask the question.
Have you ever had any incidents at Levels, any kind of incidents or accidents where the police had to be called out for disturbance or any kind of disruption since you've been there?
We're not attached to another bar, parking lot, and sometimes police got to come to move people along.
Can you talk just a little bit louder?
I said, being attached to another bar or parking lot, sometimes the police have to just get people moving along and get the process going. But no incidents, no fighting, anything like that. I got 5, 6 security guards on Friday and Saturday, making sure that people are keeping moving too. So no incidents yet, no. And I hope to never be.
You do have your own security. You
Right.
say 45 officers there every time you're establishing. You have 45 security guards in there or
Absolutely.
officers of security every time your
Yes, ma'am.
establishment is open for the safety of the people that come there to patronize your business.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I know that you're the liquor commissioner. I know we've done this in the past for Tom's Tap when it was there, and then I think we did it for Wise Guys at the beginning. I'm just asking you, can you consider giving him a trial period? And I know it's going to go before you and before the liquor commission. But if he hasn't had any incidents and the police hasn't been there since he's been open in regard to anything that's going on in his bar, I'm just wondering if we can if you can give him maybe a dispensation for a trial period and then go from there. That's something that I know that you're probably going to talk to him about, but I just wanted to ask.
All right. Any other questions, comments? All right. Very good. Sorry.
My name is Ian, and I'm a fellow Eagle Scout, and I had a question for the mayor. I know that you guys have had decommissioned squad cars in the back of Public Works, and I was wondering when you guys are going to auction those off. I know that they've been on the auction waiting list within the past couple of years.
Been in talks with the chief and with Public Works, and we're probably getting very close to doing an auction. I think they're looking at something probably this summertime timeframe. I know that Kevin is also looking at how many bikes that we've collected over the years. So we've got, I think, about a container or a trailer filled with some bikes and things like that. So we're looking at some of the old squads, maybe some of the old Public Works vehicles, some bikes and things like that. But I think right now they're doing an inventory that we have, but it definitely will be a auction type here, either here or at the Public Works garage. We'll make sure that when they make the final decision, we'll make sure that all information gets out. But as of right now, there's no date or a time or anything scheduled at this time.
I know, and I did talk to the Public Works guys, a couple of them. They were talking about that Village has the titles like secured somewhere, and they have the titles is why they didn't put them in auction.
Yeah, okay, there's no dates or times or anything yet scheduled.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments?
Judy Castor. Earlier you talked about a grant and matching funds. I wanted to know if the recent grant that you were talking about, the lobbyists getting for us, if that also is matching, and what we would have to pay for it. The second question is, our police department is budgeted for X amount of police officers. We are short police officers. Is it ever in your mind, or is it going to be considered bringing the layoff back to work since the money is in the budget? In a closed session a couple weeks ago, you had somebody there that was giving information, or you were having talks with her regarding the dispatch service. And I wanted to know where you're at with that, and if you're still thinking about farming us out as far as our dispatch service goes. 3 minutes is not enough time to discuss the findings that we've found from other police departments that are using the farm-out system and all that it involves, including hidden costs that would hit us as taxpayers. Next question is, was there any money put back into the cell tower fund, the water fund, the noise mitigation fund, as stated it would be with the tax money in March? The next question is on the budget. I don't understand how the budget is being done. I felt that the department heads know their department, know where they can make cuts, know where things aren't going to be cut that are detrimental to them. Why would you, Mayor, be doing the budget and then call them in to see what they have to say? Would that not be something that you would do together with them? And that's it.
All right, let's go through it backwards. Okay, budget. The department heads have presented their budgets. I guess you would call it your wish list, right, Chief? Everything that you guys wanted, they were presented to the, Mr. Mohan, he put everything inside budget into the proper columns and proper accounts. And then you got, the other thing you have to remember though, the budget is presented to the board from the mayor. So after the department heads went through with everything that they wanted, the mayor reviews it. I look at, first of all, how much revenue we project is coming in, and I look at how much the department heads asked for, which was a large amount. After I got all what the department heads wanted, it was over $19 million budget, and we only estimate coming in approximately $15 million this year, so there's a $4 million shortfall. So as the mayor, I went through, made the cuts, and when I sit down with them, we'll discuss the cuts that we made. Again, that's why I want to sit down with the department heads before I meet with the board, so that we're able to go through it. I'm able to talk to them. They may say, you know, Mayor, I don't need this, but I do need this. And we can start to do some adjustments before I turn over to the board. So that's the reason why I'm looking at it and making changes, and that's why I'm going to meet with the department heads before I meet with the board. So that's where we're at on the budget. And again, the budget is presented to the board by the mayor. So tax monies, all the money was returned back to everything. So the noise mitigation fund, everything has already been back. All the funds are available in those areas. Just like all the monies that were borrowed from the water funds last year, when we got our tax revenue, all that money, those things got paid first. So again, that's why we're back to thick and thin. Right now we're thin because we paid everything back, like we said we would. Dispatch service, I don't know where you're getting information about someone talking to us about dispatch service. Whoever gave you that information was false. No one's ever contacted us in the executive session to talk about dispatch services and going to a joint dispatch. Nothing's been presented to this board, and when it is, you know, we probably won't have a problem talking to you about it, but nothing from the mayor's office has been presented at this time, so I don't know where you get your information from. Is communities contacting us? I'm not gonna lie to you, yes they are. I get multiple communities contact us about joint dispatching, and as a mayor, I am very open, and I listen to them to find out, is there something that's a cost savings initiative to our community? So, but currently, nothing has been presented to this board in open or executive session when it comes to going somewhere. Talk about layoffs. First of all, there's been no police officers laid off, so there's no police officers to call back. Number one. Number two, we have had some officers leave, but if you remember when I became acting mayor, we brought on 7 more police officers. So from where we were over a year ago, we are still, at this time, 4 officers more than what we had a year ago. Are we replacing officers at this time? No. Is there plans to replace officers at this time inside the budget? No, there's not. Again, that's at this time. It's set to present to the board. We still have to meet with the department heads. And we talked about the grant we talked about tonight. That is a 90-10 grant. The village pays 10%. The other money that was reauthorized in Springfield, those are funds that the village is getting, and I don't know anything that we have to pay back. I will double check on that just to make sure, but those were reauthorized, and those funds coming out of Springfield was $135,000 for parks, $175,000 for streets, $50,000 for replacing and repairing V-boxes and jets, and $25,000 for fire hydrants. So again, we're working with our representatives, we're working with our lobbyists to make sure we continue to push that so we can get that money out of Springfield so we can start getting the work done. As soon as we have funds available, that work will start. Again, there's still a period of time you have to wait in Springfield. It's been reauthorized, but there's certain steps you still have to take again. So we're working on taking those steps so we can get those funds. And I think I answered everything. So, all right, any other questions or comments?
Hello, Mayor. My name is Carol Ryan, 3015 Street in South Village, and I just want to ask about the park that you did. I still haven't received it, or we haven't received it. It has been over about 2 months when I asked about it. It's on Murphy Street, 224th and Murphy, that park over there. And we just need benches, so we can sit down and have benches and everything.
You want to make your motion? That's right. Oh, hang on. You have any other questions or comments? Okay.
I talked to Kevin about it. We have a bench that we can put out there. He said he has it on his list of things to do. I will talk to him again. I talked to him 2 weeks ago about it, and we'll talk to him again. So I gotta see him anyway for other things. I'll talk to him tomorrow.
And I understand because the bench will be put in through our Public Works Department. And I know lately they've been very busy working on issues like getting our street lights up and running again. I don't know if you saw them. Just the other day they were going down Stock Trail, replacing street lights, and they're going on. There's poles going up where poles have been knocked down. So they've got those issues. They've got the cutting of the grass. They're trying to make sure they keep up with. And there's some other issues that they're trying to make sure they keep up with. But I don't want to sound negative, but when it comes to Public Works, that may be on the lower of the priority list. But I will follow up. I know the trustee's going to follow up with them. I will follow up with them also, see if I can get a estimated date on when we can get that bench back in there. All right, remind me. All right. Any other questions or comments?
I noticed on the
State your name.
Frank I noticed a fire hydrant over near where Pastor Rice lives. It seemed to be a leak at that fire hydrant. I don't know whether it's from the fire hydrant or water main break or what, but it's still a leak there.
We'll turn that over. Fire hydrant, you said it's over by Pastor Rice. All right.
Bernadine Hopkins. This is regarding number 2. Can any of the funds be allocated for curb cutting? For number 3, will all the parks receive the same type of renovations and/or considerations? And why has 215th and Jeffrey been specifically designated? And number 5, do the residents pay for the life insurance and dental insurance policies? Who are they for? The trustees, village workers, etc.? And are the residents allowed any kind of input regarding this? Number 6 would be, I would like to know if the ordinances, like, have you thoroughly went over, how can I say this, well, carefully investigated to be sure that you're not infringing upon anyone's personal rights, because I would think your pants, that's your butt showing, it's, you know. So, I mean, I'm saying that to say, to eliminate any unnecessary lawsuits or situations that could arise from something that's kind of minute. And that would be, I think that would be the last thing on that. But I do want to make a comment if I have a moment. I had an incident at the senior center where I was, excuse me, physically prevented or attempted to be physically prevented from entering it. And I think somewhere along the way, somebody needs to make it clear who's in charge over there, what the rules are, so that we won't have any kind of altercations, so to speak. That would probably look really weird for 2 old people to be fighting. So I just want to put that out there and hope you can make things a little more clear to avoid situations like that. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
All right. Definitely don't want 2 seniors fighting. So I'm not going to call you old people, but I will say seniors. So the, what's that? Keep living. That's right. Yeah. Don't let it get to you. Calm down. The curb cutting, again, with the funds that we receive from Enbridge, we'll have our engineers and we'll have our department head from Public Works take a look. I'm sure they're going to take the worst areas along Jeffrey. And I'll be honest with you, we just received CDGB grant money. Jeffrey is going to be redone from Sauk Trail all the way up to the library. That's getting totally redone. This money, resurfacing, this money will be used going from the library up to Peterson Avenue. And as we took some of the drives down through there, I think some of the worst areas are closer to Peterson Avenue on Jeffrey. So they'll do their measurements, they'll do their marking. There's a formula they can use to know exactly how much it's going to cost to do those areas. But we'll definitely, we got the funds. We want those funds to go immediately into those streets. So the parks, what about parks, you said? I think, because the grant that we're using deals with parks and ball fields. That's what we're going after, this $200,000. So there's funds out there available for that area that fits. So we already have ball fields that are run down. We need to get those redone. It's also a possibility we can get some other things in that area. There's a playground that is close to that area that's just adjacent to field number 4, I think, if I remember right, or field number 3. So getting new playground equipment in that area. So that's why that was picked for that grant. Again, when you write these grants up, there's specific stuff that you need to make sure that you include what you're going to do and what the money's going to be spent for. The insurance is for the employees. The last I checked, no trustees have insurance, right, for the village. And I don't have insurance for the village either. So the insurance and what we approved tonight is for the employees. We have insurance brokers, we have insurance agents to go out there and try to get the best prices for the village. And what we got passed tonight was, currently we have Blue Cross and Blue Shield when it comes to our life and our dental. We're able to bring in MetLife for life and dental at a lower cost, lower premium cost. So we have that, and then the employees, when it comes to their insurance, they're paying now, it depends on if their contracts have been approved. We've got 4 contracts that's been approved, 3 or 4, I always get that mixed up. Police, police, Public Works, Administration, so I think it's 3. Have already been approved. They are now paying a 85-15. The employees are paying 15% of their insurance. The village is now paying 85% compared to when it used to be 100% by the village. So we've got that taken care of. Ordinances, when we talk about infringing on people's rights, there was a lot of thought, there was a lot of research, especially when we talk about the saggy pants ordinance. There's communities around us that have had it. This goes all the way back to 2011. Some of these communities have been challenged. They've lost, the communities won in court. So, again, we're consistent with what we can pass as an ordinance, again, as a non-home rule community. So there's certain things we can do, certain things we cannot do. We're well within our rights. The attorneys have reviewed it. And, again, we live in a society where anyone can sue, but the way our ordinances are written up, they're going to be wasting their money. So. And again, please, seniors, don't be fighting. If you have a problem, come talk to me. I can be a good sounding board sometimes. May not always have the answer you want to hear, but I'd rather not have seniors fist fighting at the doors, and we can work things out. So, all right. Anything else? I don't see anyone moving. So, move to miscellaneous business from comments from trustees. Start with, Trustee Posse, you have your mic right there.
Okay, thank you. I have a few things here to go over. The summer program kicked off yesterday. We've had a couple of bumps in the road, but it's going pretty well over there. So we had 70 kids approximately show up the first day. We had 60 today. The bump in the road was the lunch program having a little problem with getting approval, so that's our big bump in the road. Movie night went really well. The Amazing Spider-Man was a good movie. We had about 25-30 people show up for it, and we're going to provide you with free air conditioning on June 27th when we play Frozen. Flyers are out in the back. For that, that'll be at 27th on Friday. We plan on having 2 movies every month, so if you have any recommendations for movies, we're more than happy to listen. But Frozen will be our next movie on the 27th at 7 p.m. The baseball, we have the Battle of the Badges coming up. I'm going to leave that for Rosie to let her go over what she's got going on with that. But that will be out in the baseball fields, and they are being worked on. That's this coming weekend, but I don't want to take things away from her. And in July, we're going to have a baseball camp out there for the kids. There'll be different weekends for different age kids. There are flyers in the back tables. There are flyers out in the hallway. So if you want to pick up those, there you go. They will be out there for that. We are still looking for people to put vehicles, marchers, or anything else in the parade. We're still looking for vendors, and I'm still looking for volunteers. So if anybody has anything they want to do for the 5th of July festival, or the July festival, whatever you want to call it, but we still have openings for that. And that's about all I have for right now, other than the cardiac program, which there are flyers out there for. Remember, that's coming up in July too. You have to make an appointment for that. So the flyers are out there. I went over that last week a little bit, but the cardiac program is being sponsored by the hospital over in Dyer. That's all I have to say.
Are they coming here?
Yes, sir. They'll be at the community center. Yes, there are flyers back there. From 1 to 3, I'm pretty sure it's July 17th, but I thought I gave you a flyer already, but.
Oh, the red one.
The red and white one, yes, that's the one.
It sounds like our.
Trustee Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to touch on a couple things. First of all, that the beautification committee had its annual yard sale. Some of the trustees were out there. The mayor was out there. I think it was a big hit. A lot of vendors were very pleased. A lot of people came out, and it was a good time. People were having a good time, socializing and having a good time, and that's what it was really all about. A couple things that I want to address is crime-free housing. It's state statute. It's an ordinance that we've adopted, and I'd like to see it start getting enforced. I know I've mentioned it to the police chief. I'd like to get an update on this program. I want to see where it's at. I think it's an excellent program that needs to be put in place ASAP. The other question I have here is, I know we're talking about budget, but when are we going to have a testing for the police department? When the time comes that we need to hire patrolmen, we need to have a current list. And as far as I'm aware of, at the present time, we do not have a current list. That's all I have to say.
Trustee Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to say on behalf of the Neighborhood Watch Program, we are still looking for block club captains. If anyone want to be a block club captain, you can see me and let me know. Also, we are still collecting our pledges for our campaign for no bullying, as well as no texting while driving. So if you have not yet signed that pledge and you would like to participate, we do have those forms in the back on the table as well. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Trustee Marsh.
Just a couple of things. As I said earlier, there was a child hit by a car the night. I'm urging the parents that if you have small ones, keep them on the road. You know, it's not too good to respond to finding a child abandoned their car. So please get them on the road. Mr. Mayor, I urge you to speak with the police chief and see if we can start to really put a something on these orders on keeping the kids out of the road and see if we can get that follow through with it. Because I don't want to see any more of that going on. And with that, that's all I have. Rosie, it's yours.
Exactly. Talk loud enough, I don't need the mic. But I'll use it anyway. Just as a reminder, this week, Saturday, noon, at the ball fields behind Wagner is Battle of the Badges. There will be concessions, and it will be a great time. I don't know if anybody, for those of you who came out last year, it was a really good show. Depending on what inning we would have ended in, there may have been a different victor. But we'll see. I don't know what's been decided among them, if they're doing 7 or 9 this year. But I definitely encourage noon. It starts at noon. Just to make sure everybody come out. It was actually a really good event last year. We're hoping to see an even bigger turnout this year. I'm just gonna throw out there again that I'm really proud of the 2 departments themselves. They took this on this year. They did all the signing up and everything. They picked the date, and they're really excited about it. So I hope that as a village, we can come out and support them and support the Parks and Recs department as they're running the concession stand. And it should be a really good event. So I definitely do encourage everybody to come out. And just as a reminder, I said it during my presentation, but Sock Talk articles were. Stock Talk articles are due by the 27th at midnight. Submitted electronically. Okay? If anybody has any other questions. Then let me know. Thanks.
Trustee Burgess.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to make a statement. I do appreciate everyone that came out last Wednesday to the meeting. I think it was very informative, and we will be having another one. At this time, I will get it out there. I'll put it on the website. I'll get it to the village clerk. I'll get it to everyone we have to get it to, but it's going to be July 7th. That's on a Wednesday. July 7th at 7 p.m. here in the Village Hall. Bring your questions. Like I said before, it was very informative. There was a lot of things that were asked. I think the mayor wrote a Bible that he was sitting there. He wrote so many notes, and heard a lot of things that were said. So I'm hoping that we can get a larger crowd this time. Also, there are some things. Also, there are some things that that are coming out from the Intergovernmental Relations Committee. Hopefully we will be having a forum here for your taxes. For those that want to file for an amendment for the taxes, we're going to be starting that. We're getting that taken care of this year. It'll probably be around the time when you do get your taxes in. And there's some pros and cons. I've been asking about it. A lot of people are asking about the tax freeze for the seniors and things like that. You have to qualify for that. But then it was also asked, and it was told to me by the assessor in Bloom Township that a lot of the seniors may not want to apply for a freeze, depending on, I'm sorry, not a freeze, for an abatement, depending on what they have, because if your house value went down, you apply for a freeze, you're going to get less of a freeze. So those are some of the things that will be discussed. But like I said, that'll probably happen around August or September. And if there's any other questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them at the end of the meeting, and then our website also, intergov committee saltvillage.com. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, let's see if I go through some of this stuff. First of all, we do not have a current list for police. This is something that I have added into this next year's budget because it's going to cost money to get a list up and going. Because we have to go through the applications, you have to go through the testing, you have to go through the background checks, you have to go through the physicals. So there is money inside the budget that we've allocated money in the budget once it gets approved, just so you know. Crime-free housing, this is something that I've talked to the chief, to Sergeant Salisbury about. So again, there's certain things that they've been working on. They've been working with other communities, finding out their crime-free housing, especially when it came to Park Forest. Park Forest has a really good crime-free housing. They already have their stuff. They're seeing how we can implement it here in Sauk Village. There's some training that has to be implemented. And I think we have a little bit inside the budget to send our the training officers that will be implementing the training to get the training and get the certificates and stuff that they need. So that is also included in this next budget. Okay, just so you know. Walking in the street and the saggy pants ordinances, I appreciate everything you did on that. We'll make sure that we sit down and talk to them, especially walking in the streets. It's got to stop. And you're right. I mean, I was coming down here the other night and I saw someone flying down Torrance and the kids were crossing over by Baskin Robbins, and all he did was just blast his horn and the kids jumped out of the way just in time. So we've got to address these issues. The battle of the badges, I do have to apologize. I will not be here for it, but if you would, make sure you let the employees know, department heads. I appreciate all the work that you're doing. Something came up and I cannot be here on Saturday, so. The committees, I want to put it on the next agenda, next committee meeting. We'll spend a little bit more time, but we're going to open up the floor for each one of the trustees to talk about their committees, to let the residents know what your mission statements are, what your visions are. You can talk a little bit about what you've done on your committees and what you're planning to do this next year. If you have dates, things like that, I want you to come prepared to talk about your committee. This is your time that you get to brag to the residents about what you're doing. So we'll spend a little bit extra time And hopefully it won't be a heavy agenda that night. But I think it needs to come from you. You're the ones that's running those committees. And I hear all the time residents say, well, what are these trustees doing to get paid for a committee? So I think it's time that, share with them. Share with them about the things you've done, and your events you've been having, and every one of you should have a mission statement. You should have a vision of where your committee's going. So and it's in 2 weeks. So we'll make sure we have that. And do remind me I have that on there, so we'll try to make it a light agenda so that you have more opportunity to talk. First week of July. All right. One thing I do want to mention that, and I'm going to talk to committees, I'm talking commissions, and I'm going to talk to residents and anyone that has your own ad hoc committee out there. If you're going to have something that's going to benefit Sauk Village, you've got to let us know. This last Sunday, I found out that they were having an event at Culver's. 10%, if you walked in there and said that you're there for Sauk Village, 10% of all proceeds is going to Sauk Village to help us get another dog. But we've got people out there that want to keep all this information to themselves or to their select few. It's not about the mayor's office, but if you're doing something for Sauk Village, it's about Sauk Village. And all I know is when I walked in there Sunday night, it's supposed to be from 10 to 10, I went up there and I said, are you having an event here for Sauk Village? The girl at the cash register had asked the manager said yes. Okay, and so I said, okay, I'm here for Sauk Village. I want whatever I buy to go toward that fundraiser. And I bought 16 sandwiches, took them home to the kids. But I looked around Culver's and it was empty. There was hardly anyone in there. And all I could think about was, I was coming home from church Sunday night. I made a special trip over to Culver's. How many churches in our community that let out of church on Sunday night knew about that event? How many churches on Sunday afternoon, even though it was Father's Day, knew about that event? And I can tell you right now, it was hardly any. It was none. There was no e-blast sent out because no one contacted this village. It was on none of the Facebook pages. It was on none of the village's websites. And I look around this room and I wonder how many trustees even knew about it and were able to talk to people about it. So I got one trustee, two trustees. We've got to get the information out there. I've said since I've sat here, you know what? It's not about me. It's about the residents. If you give me the information, I will put it out exactly the way you gave it to me. I will tell people who it's from and what it's for. So, I think about the missed opportunities that our police department received this last Sunday because residents of this community did not know about it and because certain people wanted to keep it among themselves. So it's sad. And it kind of irritates me because I think about how much more money we could have had. They probably could have collected enough money to buy a dog if they would have just shared this information. So, with that said, a couple other things. High grass. I received an email this last week. It might have been today or tomorrow or yesterday, with a resident asking me, why aren't we enforcing the ordinance of high grass? So I asked Sherry to run me a report, and I got it right here. Just so the residents know that for high grass, tickets from the month of May through June 16th, Sauk Village has written 210 tickets for high grass. So, you still see high grass out there. People are still not cutting their yards, but you know what? We're issuing the tickets, and tickets are being issued. So I just want to make sure that I made that announcement. One thing that wasn't on the agenda tonight, I'm going to ask the board to have it on the agenda next week. It would be under not the consent agenda, but on the regular agenda. Zoning board met last night. I was here for the zoning board meeting for Advance Auto. Advance Auto came in for a sign variance, and the zoning board approved it. send recommendations to the board to approve. We're moving pretty quickly on Advance Auto construction on the strip mall. They're supposed to be starting probably the end of this month, beginning of next month. And they are looking at an open date somewhere around the time of September. So, again, it's a little bit, huh? No, they receive everything in their box. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I can have discussion. Yeah, we can have discussion. But everyone should have everything in front of their board, in front of their packets. And everyone should have known about the zoning board meeting, because it was made public in a board meeting, and it was also made, it should have been in your boxes. So we all knew about the sign ordinance, but it was approved last night. So I just want to make sure everyone knew about that. And we talked about the budget. That's a, town hall meeting. Trustee, I had a good turnout from the town hall meeting. And he's right, I got, 3 pages on legal notebook paper on questions and comments, and some of those things we've already started to move on. Meeting with department heads and talking about some things that we need to do. Some of those things they talked about was walking in the streets, things like that. So that's where we've got the trustee moving forward on these ordinances. So a lot of good things. And I kind of like the atmosphere it was. We talked about anything we wanted. And again, I sat back there in that very last chair and just kind of took notes. And trustee let me address some of the people at the end of the meeting. But you know, one thing that concerns me also, and I talked about that night, is communication. You know, I rack my head figuring out what can we do for additional communication. We've got a village website, we've got a village Facebook page, we've got the e-alerts that are going out, we've got the soft talk going out, we use the marquees, we make announcements during village board meetings. So we're going to look at ways that we can continue to find a different avenue to get the information out. I'm working on something right now for another avenue, and hopefully by next Tuesday night I'll be able to let the board on what I'm doing as a mayor to be able to get the information out. So, and again, I would look for the trustees if you can think of any other ways to get the information, because it seemed like that was one of the things we heard that night, lack of communication. Residents not knowing that we have events for our kids, not knowing about the basketball programs, not knowing about the summer programs, not knowing about the baseball fields, not knowing about the events we're having coming up, especially the July 5th Independence Day celebration, not knowing about the parades coming up, not knowing about all this stuff that we've been talking about, we've been advertising, we're trying to get people to get involved. And there was people literally here that knew nothing about it. So keep in mind, think of other ways we can get that information out. And we'll continue to try to make sure the residents know what we're doing. That's what's important. So with that said, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned.